like Jason, I was a 20-year teacher, and I didn't ever want to be a politician. I never wanted to be involved in politics. I didn't even like it when I was in high school. But, you know, sometimes we don't really have a choice. If we want something to change, we have to, well, I shouldn't say sometimes. We have to be the change. We are the change. Not just me, not just Jason. We might be the front people, but we need everybody involved. And, you know, a lot of people are like, why isn't it changing? Because we don't have enough people to change the system yet. And sometimes I think education is the most important thing, is that we educate people, because if they don't know what they don't know, and I was just having some conversation over here, and there's a lot of things that people don't know, they don't understand the deep state of the schools. It is my belief that in the school system, it is the biggest way they're sucking taxpayer dollars out of Santa Barbara County. It's ground zero for the indoctrination of diversity, equity, inclusion. It started 15 years ago. It's been a long-range plan. They have indoctrinated every single teacher and every single member of the school district, which is kind of hard to believe when I think there's about 7,000 employees of Santa Barbara Unified, but over the course of 10 years, they indoctrinated them. They sent them to these camps, these week-long camps, where we had to sit for 12 hours, and we had to get all this white supremacy stuff shoved down our throat. And I was about having a fit when I was at these meetings. They were looking at me like I was going to do something, but I didn't know where to go. There was nowhere for me to go and talk about what happened. And I remember when Fair Education came along in 2018 and they sued Santa Barbara Unified, I was like, thank you, Jesus. There's somebody who actually understands what we've been through. But I didn't know it was going to be such a long road. And I didn't know they were going to do so much damage, because they've done damage on the school level. It's also worked its way into every club. It's worked its way into churches. It's like an octopus with tentacles. And it's never these big things that you can, like, you know, fire somebody over or send them to jail or any of these. There are all these little takes, and they just keep taking and taking and taking. And it's probably been over a course of about 30 years, you know, stuff we couldn't see way back when. So it's going to take some time to turn it around. And so we have to be willing to play the long game. It is a long game that we're playing. And the thing that sabotages us the most is the short game, the instant gratification. You know, I was just talking to Mariana over here about, you know, when I was at Santa Barbara Unified, Westmont came over and they did this implicit bias training. They used Westmont, our Christian university, to come over and do a implicit bias training on all the teachers of Santa Barbara Unified. And we had to sit at a computer. We had to look at a white face and a black face, and they gave us a word, and we had to pick white or black, white or black. That's not even a fair test, you know, and I'm not going to turn out racist. It's like, oh, they're putting me on a list by taking this test. You know, I should have just said, no, I'm not taking the test. But you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know why you're doing these things sometimes. So my point is, it's a long game. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things. But I would say over the last 2 years, we've made progress. I see a lot of progress that has been made with, you know, organization at the GOP, with more churches willing to get involved and talk about politics on some level. And we have to keep working on the people around us, and it's all of our jobs to work on the people around us, pastors, and going to city council meetings and going to school board meetings and doing all these things. It's a lot of work, but, you know, I'd rather do that than end up in communism or socialism. So that's going to be a lot of work too, and we're not going to have a choice. So it's kind of like pick your poison. Would you like to do hard work and keep our freedom, or would you like to just sit by and let us, you know, go down this road of no return? I don't want to do that. So,
Christy, I think you have some questions.
Okay. Well,
where's that octopus coming from? What's the source of that indoctrination?
Oh, I think it's probably the higher ups. I have a list on my phone. It's Bill Gates. It's, these people in leadership. And people say, well, how do we change it? We need to vote in new leadership. You know, we have to replace those people that are in charge. And just like they put them there one person at a time, we have to take them out one person at a time, you know. And they took the lady out at Harvard. Was it the professor at Harvard that she said something, and they wouldn't. They just kept going after her. And if you can't fire them and you can't sue them, expose them. Write about them in the newspaper, because that exposure, and I'll tell you something, in Santa Barbara, people don't like exposure because they want to present a certain way. It's all about perception. And so that's one tactic I've taken a lot, is writing in the newspaper and exposing the dark deeds. And they, even though they will never admit it, and even though it doesn't really seem to affect, it does affect. Because they're like, oh gosh, now, I mean, when I ran against Susan Salcido, the first thing they did was sue me to get my name off the ballot. So we knew we were over the target, you know. That could have scared me, and it did. I was like, oh my gosh, a lawsuit? But I'm not the type of person to run away. I'm the type of person like, bring it on, let's go, let's win this thing. And we won this thing, and we got somebody elected in Tuolumne County because of that lawsuit. So we can flip these things on their head. It just takes tenacity. It takes, you know, thinking out of the box. I think, you know, I was sitting next to Tatiana, and my campaign manager in the superintendent race, he's from Russia. So sometimes people have to have a certain mindset. She's from Iran. People that come from a country where there is that communist and socialist mindset, they smell it a mile away because they know what it looks like. It's hard for Americans to really understand the deceit and the deception and the evil that we're up against, but it's not impossible. I had to learn. I learned that. And so I learned also how to fight against it. And so we have to work as a team. Now, I spoke of newspaper. Have you guys heard of the Santa Barbara Current? Yes. Okay. If anybody is not part of the Santa Barbara Current, I'll give you this. I'm one of the co-founders of the Current. And that's a newspaper to replace the Santa Barbara News Press, because we have to have a way of messaging. We have to be able to get a message out. And so, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of an out-of-the-box person. I made a video that went viral and ended up on Laura Ingraham to send a message. Then I ran for office, then started a newspaper. I've been totally blacklisted all over the county. I can't get a job as a teacher. I'm working as a waitress. You know, but sometimes we do what we have to do, because there is a goal in, you know, and rallying people and coming together. And we have all these Republican clubs, but they're all doing their own thing. And we need to find a way to bring everybody together and build some communication and some unity and teamwork. And it's not my Santa Barbara, it's our Santa Barbara. So we have to, you know, she was telling me about a meeting. I don't know about the meetings sometimes, like, to give someone my name or call me on the phone and say, hey, there's a meeting, you need to go, you know, so that we can help knit people together and work together and protect Santa Barbara.
How big is the budget for Santa Barbara County Education? That's what you're running?
Yeah, so I'm running for County Board of Education, TA2, and trustee area. If you go to the GOP office, they have all these maps. If you need a map, they have a map. They've made it very confusing on purpose so that nobody knows who to vote for and where they are and all this kind of stuff. Go to the GOP office. Barbara Battassini is awesome over there. They have all this information. You can walk for candidates. You can knock doors. You can make phone calls. Whatever you can do, we need help. The budget, over $1 billion for the county of Santa Barbara. They oversee $1 billion. Their own budget is over $100 million. They are paying for the destruction of this city that we're in. A lot of the schools are, well, we're paying for the destruction of our city that we live in because of what they've, you know, this bond. There's this No on P bond. What is it, 200 million? 350 million to Santa Barbara City College, who at one point had 19,000 students and on a daily basis only has 3,500 right now. They don't need that money. They don't need it for their facility because they're not going to use it for that. They're going to use it for other things that are not good.
3,500 students.
3,500 students on a daily basis, and some of them are ghost students. Yes.
I just want to ask you if you wouldn't mind sharing your Facebook post that you posted
Oh, yeah.
about the two-tier computer system, what the parents can see.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what brought your attention to me.
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel. I actually have a bunch of videos where I talk about all kinds of different things, but originally I made a YouTube video walking parents through the portal that Santa Barbara Unified had for teachers that wasn't accessible to parents, showing all the curriculum preschool through 12th grade of all the indoctrinating LGBTQ. Black Lives Matters, white supremacy, all this kind of stuff. And I made a video. When we talk to people, we can't just tell them things. We have to show them. I showed them the portal. I walked them through the portal. That hasn't gone away. They're still doing that to kids. There's a lot of things they're doing mindset-wise to kids so that they don't even understand what bullying actually is. They don't understand what, they like advocate, like being an advocate. Like they just need to learn to read, not to be advocating for, different dumb things that they really, But they go to they went to a redistricting meeting and kids were reading a script. Yes, they should be redistricted because I'm like, I don't even know what redistricting is. Why are these kids from DP over here talking at the school board meeting, reading a script that was handed to them by some adult to affect redistricting? But it's powerful. It's powerful to use kids and use schools for what they're doing right now. And that's exactly what they're doing. So,
thank you.
Yes.
And we need to stop them from using our kids.
Yes, and my website, ChristyLozano.com.